Good evening. Welcome to the February 20th City of Oldsmar Council meeting. It is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to get started with our invocation and our pledge allegiance to the flag that will be led by our city attorney, Tom Trask. Please rise.
Father in heaven, we seek blessings on the task before us. Bless our efforts with clear insight, our deliberations with wisdom, our work with clarity and accuracy, and our decisions with impartiality. We gather to make decisions for our community. May we only use our best skills and judgment, keeping ourselves impartial and neutral as we consider the merits of each matter that is placed before us, and always act in accordance with what is in the best interest of the city of Oldsmar. This we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Next item on our agenda is the Oldsmar Open Forum. Each speaker will be recognized once and will be limited to a 5-minute presentation on any subject. Please state your name and address for the record. The open forum will conclude at 7:30 p.m. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up and speak to the city council? All right. Amber, it looks like you won.
Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. So we just had our Parks and Rec user survey, and we had 274 responses. So as a team, I think we did a really good job getting responses out from our community. And just to highlight a couple of things, and here's our beautiful graph. Isn't it beautiful? It's all in color. I like the color. You know, in my field, it's all black and white. It's kind of boring. So this is nice. So about 70% of the respondents visited parks in that past week. So that should make you proud, knowing that we're living up to its model. It starts in parks. We're utilizing our beautiful parks. And about 40% of response said the main reason they visit the park is to spend time with family and friends. And 45% of response reported that visiting a park, playground, dog park, or open space was the recreational activity that they enjoyed the most. And 70%, this is good, felt very safe walking to Oldsmar Park. So that's actually good to hear. So just a couple of things I wanted to highlight. You can ask our Parks and Rec director if you have any more questions. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amber.
Terry, you want to come up?
Jerry Beaverland, 512 Pine Avenue South. Good evening, council members, shorter officials. And I'll try to break this down, Mayor, within 10 minutes. I may talk a little longer than that. How many know who Brian Smith is? Bless you, I love you. How about Tim Jacobson? Oh, God. I apologize, council. I'm amazed and I'm proud of you. When I was elected in 1990, for the second time or third time, I don't know what it was, first thing I did was went out and I met every employee of this city, every one of them. And for the next 20 years, every time I saw them out on the street working, I stopped and I talked to them and I thanked them for what they were doing. I left you all a message this morning. Tom, I want to thank you for your prayers.
You're welcome, Mayor.
Attorney Trask, I want to thank Mr. Trask. I put something that this morning, you probably have it, you probably haven't looked at it yet, but it's like, when I was mayor, there was a entity that came in the city and built an industrial park, which was in the county, until I blackmailed the county and got it into the city of Oldsmar. I was accused of the county's administrator accused me of blackmailing, and I said, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But we got that 600 acres. They dug 2 beautiful lakes out there. And I told them I wanted them to give the city those 2 lakes. And they said no. Well, they decided after a while that it was in their best interest to give us those two beautiful lakes. Okay. And they're incredible lakes. They give us all the land around those lakes. How many know, if you go over Forest Lakes Boulevard, do you know you run over railroad tracks? Thank you. I'm becoming more amazed as I stand here. That's incredible. I wanted to have that a trail, a beautiful trail to those lakes. And that's where the trail would end, is at those lakes. Well, at that time when I was mayor and after that, there was some negotiations going back and forth about who actually was going to own the railroad tracks and who was going to do this and do that. So I put that, I hope somebody will take that up and finalize that. It's an incredible trail. And there shouldn't be any problem. They should give you the whole damn thing. Hasn't been used in 40 years. Okay. I talked about this at the last council meeting. Please at least consider that land over here as a convention center. Do you know what that would do to you, for you people? 10 years from now, they're going to say, Andrew Knapp and Katie Gannon and this guy here and that guy there. They're the ones that built this beautiful convention center here, which would be a diamond in Pinellas County because there's no other convention centers in this part of the county. Probably the only one you could probably talk about would be one in Clearwater, going down to the beach. Possibly, I think they use that for that. An incredible diamond for you people. It would be something that you could be proud of years later, that you were the ones that took density away from that place and built a beautiful convention center. I'm telling you, it would be a diamond here. It would bring people here for the restaurants or whatever. If I was on council, I would scream. But I'm not on council, and I was one of the individuals that started this crap out here when I was mayor, when I finally realized it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. But thank you, ma'am, but I should have, but I didn't, I failed. Where you people can pick it up and you can put it in your resume. I helped build that convention center, and I got rid of whatever that word is. Thank you for listening to me. I went over time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the information about the police officers. Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak to the council? All right, with that, I'm going to close the Oldsmar open forum. Our next item on our agenda is the community minute that will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Party in the Park will be held on Friday, March 1st from 6 to 9 p.m. at Ari Olds Park. Free fun for everyone, inflatables for kids, along with giant version of well-known games and interactive games for all ages. Satisfaction survey. The Oldsmar annual satisfaction survey has officially launched. We're eager to hear your insights on the quality of services provided by the city and the amenities that enrich your city. Survey closes on March 31st, and you can access it by visiting the city's website at myoldsmar.com. Pledge to evacuate. This new initiative is to encourage residents to take proactive steps by committing to a well-prepared evacuation plan that includes your residents, property, and family members. You can find this pledge to evacuate at the city's website at myoldsmar.com. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Next item on our agenda is approval of additional new agenda items, and I'm in shock, there's only one. Item 10, I need a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. I believe, Katie, are we doing that, or?
Don't believe we have confirmed attendance of the recipient of tonight's Business of the Quarter
All right.
award. So perhaps we can postpone that until we can confirm their attendance.
I think that's perfect.
So I would make a motion to, should we table it? Because we don't know if they'll be at the next meeting. So I make a motion to table agenda item
One.
1, presentation of Business of the Quarter award for
Thank
fourth
you.
quarter 2023.
Second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is the consent docket, and this will be read by our city clerk, Kristen Garcia.
Item 2, approve minutes of February 6, 2024 council meeting. Item 3, approve payment of January 2024 legal services to Bartlett Loeb, Hens, and Thompson, PLLC, for Eric Seidel's litigation defense. Item 4, approve payment to legal counsel for January 2024 legal services. Item 5, approve awarding contract for sanitary sewer lining to Vortex Services LLC for the same pricing, terms, and conditions of the HGAC Cooperative Contract TP 07-18. Item 6, award the contract for curb and sidewalk repair and replacement to Central Florida Contractors, Inc. under same pricing, terms, and conditions as City of Clearwater Contract 20-0026-EN. Item 7, authorize city manager to execute change order number 2 to the professional services agreement of 2018-012-RFQ for St. Petersburg Drive streetscape and drainage design with Kimley Horn for sub-consultant services to perform a cultural resources assessment survey.
Thank you very much. Does anybody wish to pull anything from the consent agenda? Yes.
Item 4.
Item 4, okay. Anyone else? I need a motion then to approve the other items, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
So moved.
Second. I got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Vice Mayor, item 4, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a brief moment to thank you, Tom, and your partner, Jay, for your efforts over the last 2 years in defending the city in the McDonald matter. I know that that chapter may not be complete as of yet, but I just wanted to say thank you. It's rather unfortunate that the citizens had to incur an extra $170,000 in unplanned expenses, but I hope that we will turn the page soon and stop the bleeding and move on. And that's all I wanted to say, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, do you want to make a motion?
I will make a motion to approve a payment to legal counsel for January 2024 legal services.
All right, thank you. Second?
Second.
Any other discussion on that item? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is Councilmember Steve Graver. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Got it.
I'll try to be quick because I know how much Tatiana wants to have a 20 or 30-minute speech after I award this Flood Awareness Week proclamation. 2024 Flood Awareness Week. Whereas the city of Oldsmar has experienced severe weather in the past in the form of extreme rainfall or tropical system events, resulting in flooding in both coastal and riverine areas. And this flooding has caused damage and flood losses to homes and buildings in all areas, whether they are high-risk special flood hazard areas or low to moderate risk flood zones. And whereas the city of Oldsmar is a voluntary participant in the National Flood Insurance Program that provides residents with the opportunity to protect themselves against flood loss through the purchase of flood insurance at reduced insurance premium rates, as well as setting higher regulatory standards to reduce the flood risk and potential flood damage to their property. And whereas the reduction of loss of life and property damage can be achieved when appropriate flood preparedness, control, and mitigation measures are taken before a flood. And whereas public education and awareness of potential weather hazards and methods of protection are critical to the health, safety, and welfare of residents,
the Florida Floodplain Managers Association have declared the week of March 4th, 2024 as Flood Awareness Week to promote awareness and increase knowledge of flood risk, the availability of flood insurance, flood protection methods, and how to prepare for emergencies. Now, therefore, I, Councilmember Steve Graber, on behalf of Dan Saraki, the Mayor of the City of Oldsmar, do hereby proclaim the week of March 4th, 2024 as Flood Awareness Week in the City of Oldsmar, and further encourage the citizens to increase their knowledge of how to protect themselves and their property from flooding. Tatiana, would you like to join me? Present the proclamation.
Speech? I thought there was gonna be a speech.
You going to be a speech?
Presentation.
The thing is, seriously though, a lot of people don't know how much work Tatiana did, like proactively for, talk about some of that proactive work that we did on, well, you did, on the base flood elevation. Remember the Limois? Do you guys, did you block it out? I mean,
We have a new line that appeared on our map, so it's called the Limois line. So it's a limited wave action line. So in the new zone, which is a coastal A CAS zone. So if you're on Oakwood and Shore Drive, turning from Oakwood, you'll see a new construction. So that building is actually being built to the newer standards. So they're all high velocity standards. So you'll see that there will be some breakaway walls, and there's some pilings right now. So this is all newer, higher standards. So we'll see how these new buildings will stand during hurricanes, and hopefully we will not have the hurricanes.
right? But it's for our protection, it's for our residents, it's for our insurance rates. It's so
All
much bigger.
combined.
It's so much bigger than just a code provision. you
True.
know?
Yes.
It's because of you.
Well, it's a Mandy actually helped a lot. So, and we had state assistance as well. So it's a state ordinance. So we follow the guidance that we receive from the state, and then we implement it on the local level if we want to be more resilient in the future.
Right? What do they say? Hide from the wind, run from the water. And here it's water. It's really water that threatens us. Thank you, Tatiana.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. Thank you, Councilmember.
Sure thing.
Steve, Graber, good job, great job. Next item is item 9, appoint Donna Reuner as an alternate member to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. I don't believe she's here today, but I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on that item? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 10, appoint Peter Wenjay as a regular member to the Code Enforcement Board. This is the new agenda item. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item is our city attorney, Tom Trask.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 11 is the public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2024-02. I'll read that ordinance by title only. Ordinance 2024-02, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, replacing the name of Leisure Services Department with the name of the Parks and Recreation Department, and replacing the word Leisure Services with Parks and Recreation in sections 3.11.1, 11.2.2.1, 26-121, 26-126, 26-129, 26-130, 42-31, 42-35, 42-44, 42-66, 42-117, and 42-123 of the city's Code of Ordinances, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-02 by title only.
This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open up the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak for or against this item? With that, I'll close the public hearing. I need a motion to approve.
Moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any other council discussion on this item?
Staying Parks and Rec now.
There you go.
It's enough.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-02 passes on first reading with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 12 is public hearing for the first reading of ordinance 2024-03. I'll read that by title only. Ordinance 2024-03, an ordinance of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending Article 2, Art in Public Places, of Chapter 14 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Oldsmar, and Section 14-33 to delete the requirement for reporting any building permit for construction or reconstruction of a commercial structure to the city's Public Arts Committee, deleting Section 14-36 relating to appeals and hearings, renumbering Section 14-37 relating to ownership and maintenance to Section 14-36, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing for an effective date of this ordinance. That was the first reading of ordinance 2024-03 by title only.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. I'm going to open up the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak for or against this item? With that, I'll close the public open forum. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Any other council discussion? All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Graber,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimes,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Knapp,
Yes.
Councilmember Gannon,
Yes.
Mayor Saraki.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-03 passes on first reading with 5 votes for and 0 against.
Thank you. Item number 13 is adopt resolution 2024-10 establishing the candidate qualifying period for the August 20th, 2024 special election. I'll read that resolution by title only. Resolution 2024-10, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar establishing the candidate qualifying period for the August 2024 special election and the date when the City Council will adopt the ballot language resolution and providing for an effective date hereof. That was a reading of Resolution 2024-10 by title only.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion from anybody? Seems like we're in an election. We got another one right around the corner. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 14 is adopt resolution 2024-11 revising the charitable donation policy and application. I'll read that resolution by title only as well. Resolution 2024-11, a resolution of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, establishing a comprehensive policy governing charitable donations made by the City of Oldsmar, repealing Resolution 2022-22, and providing for an effective date hereof. That was a reading of Resolution 2024-11 by title only.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Gannon, second by Councilmember Graver. Any other discussion? Yes.
Just real quick, want to thank the city clerk for cleaning this up. It's a spectacular looking form now.
It is. Thank you.
Nice new pop with the logo. So, well done.
Very well done.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Tom.
You're welcome.
Next item is Felicia Donnelly, our city attorney, our city manager.
Item number 15,
Congratulations, Felicia.
Swap Freaky Friday.
this is a presentation of the Advantage Pinellas Housing Action Plan and an update on the implementation process of the Housing Compact. On February 3rd of 2023, the City of Oldsmar adopted Resolution 2023-03 as an initiative to join the Advantage Pinellas Housing Compact. The compact is built on existing countywide and local efforts to create affordable housing units through direct investment, public-private partnerships, more diverse market rate development, and other tools. It's part of Advantage Pinellas' plan to link housing, jobs, and transportation on a countywide basis. To implement the housing compact, Forward Pinellas developed an Advantage Pinellas Housing Action Plan and designated the Forward Pinellas Board as an intergovernmental forum to administer it. Forward Pinellas is requesting a formal endorsement of both the attached plan and the role of the Forward Pinellas Board. If council would like to consider a resolution of support, then a motion would be appropriate after the presentation. I'd like to invite Linda Fisher up with Forward Pinellas, and she'll provide a presentation of the report.
Thank you
For coming.
Thank you. And you did such a great job introducing that. I hope I don't just repeat you. But, thank you, council members, for having me. So again, I'm here, as Felicia said, I'm here to follow up to a countywide initiative that we first brought you a year ago. apologize, I have skipped ahead a few slides. This is the Advantage Pinellas Housing Compact, which is a commitment to combine housing resources and expertise across all of Pinellas County to make it easier to create affordable housing of all types, whether public, private, or nonprofit, coordinated with planning for jobs, transit, and other important community resources. This effort is being spearheaded by a partnership of the Pinellas County government and my agency, Forward Pinellas. And several local governments have signed on to be partners, including yourselves. You signed on in February of last year, and we do appreciate that. We have 9 local and countywide partners so far. We are still working to increase that number. But today I'm here to talk to you about the Housing Action Plan, which is the mechanism to implement the Housing Compact. It sets forth a work plan for each goal of the compact. It includes a range of actions over 1, 3, and 10-year timeframes, and establishes roles for all the different partners. Just to remind you quickly of what's in the compact, and now in the action plan, there are 11 goals ranging from planning for future transit corridors to incorporating healthy communities, resilience, and economic opportunity. We are taking a two-pronged approach. What technical resources and best practices can we at the countywide level bring to you? And then so that you at the local level can pick the strategies that work best for your community to create more housing options. And I'll give you some examples of some of the resources that we're working on in just a moment. As we talked about when we first brought the compact to you last year, we've proposed that Forward Pinellas be the forum for our local governments to jointly oversee implementation of the Housing Action Plan. And you are represented on our board by Vice Mayor Knapp. And we'll also seek input from other stakeholders like affordable housing providers, developers, and community organizations. The plan itself was drafted by the county and Forward Pinellas staff, but with a lot of input from staff of our partner communities. We have a tactical team that meets periodically to give us input, and we've invited your staff to join that. The plan was workshopped with the public at a countywide Homes for Pinellas Summit last year, and it was formally endorsed by the Board of County Commissioners and the Forward Pinellas Board. And now we are making rounds back to our partner communities to get your endorsement as well. But before I talk about that, I just want to briefly touch on some of the implementation projects that are already underway. We are working on a countywide housing educational campaign to provide our partner local governments with the tools that you can use to help inform your citizens. We have a website called homesforpinellas.org, and we're going to build it out with informational videos, handouts, case studies of where housing that's affordable already exists in the county, and profiles of our residents who live there. And then we're going to be targeting this project for the first quarter of this year to launch that educational campaign. The second project is called the Countywide Housing Target Study to help us identify where we have the greatest need for creating and preserving affordable homes, what income sectors, ages, and types of households have the greatest deficit in available housing, and where we can best apply the resources that we have. Because we know that a young family with children is going to have different housing needs than seniors. And we know all those needs are important, but we want to know where we can best target our resources to do the greatest good. And we expect that study to be completed by the second quarter of this year. The next project that is underway is the creation of online mapping and analysis tools to help coordinate planning for housing with planning for transit, healthy communities, jobs, and so forth. We will also have a dashboard that will track developments that are being created under the state's new Live Local Act. And all of these tools will be publicly available so local governments can use them, but also nonprofits, developers, or anyone in the public. And we expect to complete that project in the first quarter of this year. And then the last of our current implementation projects is what we're calling the Affordable Housing Regulatory Toolkit. It will create a menu of model land development regulations and strategies that any local government can use as you determine appropriate for your community. Again, that'll be done in partnership with our local governments and other stakeholders. And our target for this project is the third quarter of this year. So that is what we're doing at the countywide level. And we're asking you as a compact partner to consider doing two things. The first is to endorse the Housing Action Plan as the instrument to implement the Housing Compact. And the second is to endorse Ford Pinellas as the forum for our local governments to collectively administer the plan going forward. And that endorsement can be in whatever form you feel is appropriate, a resolution or a simple vote, whatever works best for you. And that is my presentation on the Housing Action Plan. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Linda. Anybody have any questions? Great presentation. Councilmember Graber?
Yeah, just one. Do you happen to know, and forgive me for putting you on the spot, but when it comes to where shouldn't affordable housing go, and you talk about food deserts, can you just explain, I know what they are, but is it a certain distance or lack of transportation in order to get to where the grocery stores are or other food vendors? And how many, if you happen to know, or even just sort of guesstimate, areas have been designated as such in Pinellas County?
I believe there are 6.
Okay.
I can send you more specific information after this meeting. Typically, it's considered in a radius, and I apologize, I don't know what that radius is. But anytime we measure anything in distance, if we have a robust transit system, that brings people closer,
Right.
so to speak, to the resource. We especially see that with jobs, that people have a benefit of being within a certain radius of jobs, but if you have a robust transit, it's as if they are closer to the jobs.
Right, so it's parallel to where bus stops are located, right? And especially when it's hotter times. Because when I first got elected, what we did was we took a survey of all of the bus stops that were located in Oldsmar to see if there was sufficient shade. And then we were able to plant trees where there wasn't, because it has a far greater effect on people who have to take the bus and have to walk there because they have to take the bus, and they might not be able to, they might not have a bike, or especially people who may be in wheelchairs that rely on public transit.
Right.
And so with the food desert, that's why I don't know the radius either off the top of my head, but I always believed that that's what the case was. And I didn't know there's 6 different areas in Pinellas County that have been classified.
I believe so, and I will get you more information on what that radius is and
Sure.
how that interacts with transit and how that can help lessen that distance.
Perfect, that's all I had. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just a quick comment about the Live Local dashboard. We got a quick glimpse of it there, but we got a little bit of a demonstration at the Ford Pinellas meeting last week. And I think the tool looks great. It's live right now, right? It's just there's limited data in the dashboard as it currently sits because there's not that many projects registered within the system yet. But just the amount of data that you can look at and sort of slice it to see how does each project with each of the brackets of how the income or the affordability of that project relates to the scale in general. It was really fantastic. I think as more projects come online and they get started, it's going to be a great tool for people to really understand where things are developing as it relates to affordable housing in the county. So it was really, I was kind of geeking out on that because I like the data stuff.
I appreciate the feedback. I'm glad that's useful, and that will be posted. We're still working out a few little bugs, but that's going to be posted on our homesforpinellas.org website very soon.
Great.
Great. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, do we want to move forward with housing compact? I think we should. Do we have a consensus? Anybody?
We should have a resolution.
Yes.
I make a motion to authorize the city attorney to draft the resolution to support the Housing Action Plan.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the written report also.
Passes. Thank you very much, Linda, for coming out. Appreciate it very much.
I can't believe this date.
16.
Item number 16 is adopt resolution 2024-04, amending the city's 457B deferred compensation plan with Nationwide through an adoption agreement to include a Roth investment option to implement the Secure Act and other law changes and to implement the CARES Act. I'll read the resolution by title only. Resolution 2024-04, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, amending the city's 457B deferred compensation plan to include a Roth investment option, to implement the Secure Act and other law changes, and to implement the CARES Act. authorizing the city manager to execute such amendments and certificates and providing for an effective date hereof. That was a reading of title only of Resolution 2024-04.
Thank you. Need a motion to approve?
Moved.
All right, I got a motion by Vice Mayor Knapp and a
Second.
second by Councilmember Graver.
Sure.
All right. Any other discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 17.
Item number 17 is adopt resolution 2024-05, adopting the cybersecurity framework. Florida statute 282.3185, also referred to as the Local Government Cybersecurity Act, was enacted in 2022. Section 4A of the statute states that each local government shall adopt cybersecurity standards that safeguard its data, information technology, and resources to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Standards must align with generally accepted best practices for cybersecurity. After careful consideration, staff recommends that the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, NIST CSF, is the appropriate framework for the city. To meet the statutory obligations, municipalities with populations of 25,000 or less must adopt these standards by January 1st, 2025, and notify the Florida Digital Service of its compliance. The adoption of Resolution 2024-05 signifies that the City Council commitment to cybersecurity and authorizes the online submission of the local governance cybersecurity standards attestation form, which will inform the Florida Digital Service of the city's compliance. I'll read the resolution by title only. Resolution 2024-05, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, adopting the National Institute of Standards and Technology Cybersecurity Framework, authorizing the city manager or designee to adopt policies and procedures as necessary to implement the framework and comply with Section 282.3185 Florida statutes, authorizing the city manager or designee to affirm compliance with Section 282.3185 Florida statutes and providing an effective date. This was a reading of Resolution 2024-05 by title only.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved?
Motion. I have a motion and a second. Other discussion? Well, all I have to say is, I just quickly, I think our city does an amazing job with cybersecurity. And thank you to Felicia, you and your staff. I mean, every day we get a quiz. Every day, every other day, we get something to do for cybersecurity. So thank you for all your hard work. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 18.
Item number 18 is adopt resolution 2024-09, revising the budget for fiscal year 2023-2024. Attached, you'll find resolution 2024-09, a revision of the annual budget for fiscal year 23-24. The general fund, water and sewer operating fund, and the stormwater utility fund require adjustment at this time. In the general fund, the city council division will be allocated an additional $6,000 to re-budget the cost of the community visioning workshop. This event was budgeted in FY 22-23. However, the workshop didn't occur till October of 23, and the funding is required to be in the current fiscal year to cover the expenditure. The Streets Division has requested an additional $5,000 to upgrade the existing maintenance operator position, that's a grade 105, to an equipment operator grade 108 to create a career ladder that will potentially retain skilled employees and better serve the needs of the Public Works Department. The Fleet Maintenance Division has requested $60,000 to upgrade the fleet fueling system at the Municipal Services Center, which is used to fuel all city vehicles and equipment. The Facilities Division will be allocated an additional $25,000 to cover the general liability deductible invoice from the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust for the settlement of the trip and fall of the accident that occurred at the Women's Club. Contingency reserves totaling $96,000 will be utilized to fund these adjustments. Additionally, $380,000 of revenue will be added to the general fund budget to recognize a settlement received from Tampa Bay Construction Engineering, Inc., an allied property and casualty insurance company approved by council in October of 23 for the remediation work required to reconstruct the starting hill at the city's BMX facility. The fiscal year 23-24 budget appropriate reserve will be lowered by $380,000 as a result. In the Water and Sewer Operating Fund, the Water Reclamation Facility Division has requested an additional $15,000 to cover increased cost of chemicals. The Reverse Osmosis Water Treatment Plant Division has requested $125,000 to rebudget the cost of the work order for Jones Edmonds and Associates to prepare the concentrate injection well permit renewal application and mechanical integrity test. This was approved by you all last September. The RO division will also need an additional $120,000 to cover increased cost of chemicals. $125,000 of appropriated reserve will be recognized to offset the cost of the Jones Edmonds and Associated work order, while $135,000 of contingency reserve will be utilized to cover the increased cost of chemicals in the water reclamation facility and RO divisions. In the Stormwater Utility Fund, an additional $5,000 has been requested to upgrade the existing maintenance operator position, grade 105, to an equipment operator, grade 108. This is similar to the General Fund Streets Division request, and the upgrade's going to create a career ladder that'll potentially retain skilled employees and better serve the needs of our residents. A contingency reserve will be used to fund this adjustment. I'll read the resolution. Resolution 2024-09, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, revising the budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024, authorizing the city manager and the director of administrative services to revise the existing budget. Whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida has approved a municipal budget for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. And whereas the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida is desirous of amending the budget by revising various revenues and expenditures, now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, and the following revenues and expenditures be revised in the manner based on the review of the budget. Section 1, City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida has hereby revised the existing budget for fiscal year 2023-2024 in accordance with Schedule A as attached. Section 2, the resolution will take effect immediately upon passage, passed and adopted by the City Council of the City of Oldsmar, Florida, this 20th day of February 2024. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you, good job. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I got a motion, and a second. Any other discussion? Yes, Councilman Buchanan?
Just a couple of things, we sometimes get questions about budget revisions, right? And this sounds like a lot of stuff, right? It sounds like a thick bunch of paragraphs, but, it's important to me as a taxpayer, and it's important, I believe, to many of our residents to run and to have what I would consider a tight, lean, and mean budget, which sometimes means that we have to make revisions to either recognize funds and monies moving when they actually move, such as when we had the community visioning workshop, it occurred in a different fiscal year. It's necessary to account for that in a different fiscal year. And certain housekeeping things like making sure we have city staff on career ladders so that they stay. And small moves like that are important. And, some of these are larger things that, we've already approved and recognized. And I understand that, but the reason that we sometimes have to do these revisions isn't necessarily because we ran out. It's because we've run lean and we'd rather not have a padded budget so that we never have to revise it, because that just encourages people to kind of hoard and over budget what they actually need for their department. So, I think it's important that we sometimes explain what budget revisions are and what they do and the purpose of them. The only other thing that I wanted to mention is to thank, while not on behalf of the Women's Club, because I certainly don't speak on behalf of them, but as a member, I am grateful to the city for defending the action brought related to the slip and fall and resolving that. So Tom, thank you for that, although regrettable in the first instance. The Women's Club certainly appreciates an end to that calamity, and we are now set up to avoid anything like that in the future. So that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Discussion? I just want to say one thing. Thank you, Cindy, to you and your staff for your hard work and always keeping our budget on track. Thank you very much. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 20.
Item
Oh, I'm sorry, item 19. I'm
Item
sorry.
number 19 is approved payment of $25,000 to the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust for the liability deductible for settlement and the claim at the Women's Club. The city received a claim relating to a trip and fall that occurred on May 10th, 2022 at the Women's Club building. The city's insurance carrier, the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, conducted an investigation and review of the claim. Following that investigation, suit was filed by the claimant. That the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust, in coordination with the city attorney's office, provided response to the suit. A settlement agreement was reached by the Florida Municipal Insurance Trust and the claimant. This $25,000 payment represents the city's deductible due in this claim. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item?
Same. Same as I just mentioned.
I
And I
agree.
recognize the
Very sad.
increasing costs of litigation, and sometimes it can be better to resolve certain matters before they cost us more to defend. But the good news is we have a wonderful, beautiful new ramp over at the Women's Club building. You should come by and see it. It is extraordinarily safe, as well as the steps are newly refurbished and redone. So hopefully we won't have this issue. We also have our own insurance now, so, yeah.
Thank you. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 20.
Item number 20 is approve the special event application fee waiver request and use of the city logo for the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce's Oldsmar Days and Nights event to be held April 5th through 7th, 2024. Oldsmar Days and Nights is a citywide celebration that began in 1962 as a half-day picnic named Oldsmar Days by the Oldsmar Volunteer Fire Department. The Chamber of Commerce assumed the event in 1964 and later expanded it to become this weekend celebration that it is now. The event is a signature occasion in Oldsmar, attracting around 5,000 people to the park and downtown area over the weekend. Visitors can enjoy various activities such as a parade, a carnival, arts and crafts, food and beverage vendors, a car show, and live music. I think it's important to say right now that I did hear something that maybe they wouldn't have the carnival, so I confirmed with the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce this morning that there is indeed a carnival for this
Kids love that
weekend.
part. That is critical.
The proceeds generated from this event are used to support the annual operations of the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce. This item requests the waiver fees in the amount of $6,504.60. Consistent with the City of Oldsmar Special Event Guide, the Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce requests that the city waive the fees associated with the event. All other external costs, including utility fees of $750, will be the responsibility of the chamber. The Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce will recognize the city as a sponsor at the appropriate level and may use the city logo to recognize such sponsorship. Copy of the application is attached for your review. Staff recommends approval.
Thank you. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Graber and a second by Vice Mayor Knapp. Any other discussion on Oldsmar Days and Nights?
Bring on the carnival.
Mentioning the carnival.
Yeah.
I know Steve's kids will not come.
Well,
without
I'm
that.
glad, because now my grandsons want to come up. They love that carnival.
Will not come.
Well, I mean, yeah.
They have way more fun.
Well, sure. Yeah. They show up, they don't, then they ask where the rides are, and then I just point to Felicia.
Who has absolutely nothing to do with
None of
it.
us do, it's just, it is welcome, because the last couple of events, I think the last two, there wasn't a carnival, correct?
Right, because
Right.
Oktoberfest, the carnival had been double booked for the Our Lady of Lourdes Festival.
Right, and that's important to understand, because you
I know,
can't-
there's no
You can't
excuse
just
with
buy
children.
another carnival, like, there's only so many to go around, and so if they're booked, they're booked, So I was delighted to hear that
Yeah, that's a
there
big
was gonna
draw.
be a
It's a
carnival
big
this
draw
year.
for the event, so I'm
Yeah,
glad.
for sure.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on our agenda is City Clerk Kristen Garcia, item 21.
Item 21 is authorize city attorney to draft a resolution appointing the local canvassing board for the March 19th, 2024 Oldsmar municipal election. Section 6.06 of the city charter provides for city council to appoint themselves or qualified electors as needed to serve on the local canvassing board to accept the certified results of the municipal election. No member of the canvassing board may be a candidate with opposition in the election being canvassed. Any qualified elector so appointed shall serve on the canvassing board only for purposes of the regular or special election being canvassed, and his or her term shall terminate upon the completion of the canvassing of said election. Since two of the council members are candidates for the upcoming election, are there nominations for appointees to the local canvassing board to accept the certified results of the municipal election? The canvassing board will convene on March 26, 2024 at 6 p.m. to adopt a resolution accepting the certified results of the municipal election.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I would like to nominate someone. If you want, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, go ahead. Would you like to? Yes.
I'd like to nominate Amber Stevens.
Oh, second.
So we need a motion, I think, right?
I made a motion to nominate.
Motion, I have a second. All right, any discussion? Amber,
Hope she
you
accepts.
want
She's
to
smiling.
accept? All right, all in
Right.
favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Amber, welcome aboard. One other person. Who else?
Make a motion
Yes,
to appoint Sean Swager to serve on the canvassing board.
Oh, second.
okay. All right, I have a motion and a second for Sean. A second from
Yeah, I
Katie?
said the second,
Okay,
yeah.
yep. Councilmember Gannon, second. All right, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we got our two members. Thank you. Thank you for joining in. That's 21. Item 22 is, for me, reappointment of Councilmember Katie Gannon to Ford Pinellas School Transportation Safety Committee. I just want to say, Katie, I think you're doing a wonderful job there, and I'm glad you want to keep doing that. Yep, hallelujah. You're doing a great job with that.
Our first meeting of the 2024, the first quarter meeting is coming up next week on the 28th, the morning after our work session. So I'll have a report at the first meeting in March about
Okay.
what's on the horizon for this year, which will no doubt have to do with busing and all of the challenges and things that we just heard about in the housing compact.
Right.
It's all related. So
Oh, good.
thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve.
All right, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor and a second by Councilmember. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I know, Councilmember Grimes, sorry.
There's too many G's. Grimes, Graber, Gannon. What's your name again?
That's all good.
Ganap.
Knapp.
Ganap.
Knapp.
Oh, we got, any
It's hard to
opposed?
say all this
right.
stuff.
Garcia?
Yeah, you guys, it is hard to
All
say
right.
all this stuff and read this entire meeting out loud.
All right,
We gotta
motion
cut Mayor some
passes.
slack,
Item
y'all.
23, let's keep going. Reappointment of Councilmember Steve Graber as trustee to the Florida Municipal Investment Trust Board of Trustees. I understand you're the chairman, you're doing a great job there.
Certainly am. Thank you, Mayor.
Well, so keep it up.
Yeah.
Do, absolutely. I love it.
All right, fantastic. I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Grimes got it, and I didn't hear the second.
Second.
Second, Vice Mayor Knapp. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it, Steve. Keep going.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, item 24, council comments. We're going to start out with Councilmember Gannon.
Woo. Thank you, Mayor. Well, a couple of quick things. I just mentioned the School Transportation Safety Committee meeting, which will take place next week, so I'll report back on that, our first meeting in March. I also wanted to mention, I think we were all out there shivering in the cold on Mardi Gras.
Yes.
But the OFOTA, the Oldsmar Friends of the Arts and Opal Theater, everybody did a fantastic job of putting on the event, from Miss Suda's dancers. We had Mr. Hector running around setting things up. There were parents there, lots of volunteers. The food vendors were there. The entertainment was fantastic. The first about hour and a half, as you guys all know, you were there, consisted of mainly the students doing their solos and showing us some of the numbers from Pinocchio Jr. And it was extremely well attended. I know Ginger was there, Valerie was there. It was one of those special nights where you get to see the kids in our community really shine. Now, it was freezing, though, so I could not stay all the way till 9. I think, Mayor, you and
Oh,
I
we
made
left
it
together.
till 8:30.
A little after 8:30.
Yeah, we stuck it. I borrowed Sandy's gloves. I was so cold. But even still, it was a beautiful night under the stars, and I actually won something. I won the Horsepower for Kids Family 4-pack, so yeah, right, in the silent auction. So I haven't heard how much that they raised, but I hope it was a bunch because great program there. And I'm looking forward to the work session coming up next week. I hope we have a productive session. Interested to hear everybody's thoughts, given the comments that we received during the appointment meeting a couple of weeks back. And last thing, I gotta give a shout out to my ladies in the Women's Club, because we had the super party the day before the Super Bowl, and the turnout was incredible. I haven't heard the final number, but I know we made several $100s to fundraise for the Women's Club. And there was a tie for third place, and then there was a first place and a second place soup. Do you guys remember what the soup was that won first place? I believe it was called Walkabout soup,
That's
but
the
it
one.
was
That
it
was
was
the
an
one.
onion cheese-based soup made by Lynette.
No,
And it was
her
fantastic.
husband.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Mayor, I thank you for the clarification, because
Yeah.
the first place and second place soups, I believe it was conceded that they were both made by husbands.
Correct.
Colleen's turkey chili, yeah. I tied for third. I made my own soup. And I think, was it Debbie Curry's that was also third with me? I shared third with Debbie Curry, but it was pretty hilarious when we announced the winners and the top two soups. The women announced that their husbands had made it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all for a good cause.
Yeah, but they were there and they were very proud.
Yes, yes. And I just wanted to thank the whole council for really supporting the Women's Club, for coming and eating your fill and your young children's fill. It was great to see everybody. It's always a well-attended event, and it feels good. It feels like a nice coming together of the community, because we're there literally with, something that we made, or supporting something, that someone made who's standing right next to us. We're literally serving each other food. And, anytime you can break bread with your neighbors, it's a good thing. I wanted to be sure to thank John Lindsay and the other city staff that helped set up, 50 tables and 100 chairs or something. And even emptied out portions of the State Street Center of city, equipment and furniture, so that we could have more room. He even made sure that the electrical panels could handle all the crock pots and Instapots. But it really is an endeavor. It sounds like a simple thing, but it matters to us a lot, the support that we get from the city and from the council. And we're really grateful for all the fun. So thank you guys. That's all.
All right, perfect. Vice Mayor, you're up.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. One of the other charitable events that we had over the last couple of weeks was Oldsmar Cares Gala. That was fantastic. Everybody hanging out there and supporting a good cause year in and year out is always fantastic for their facility. Speaking of the event center itself, I'm really happy that they beefed up their Wi-Fi, because that place is like a black hole of cell phone signals.
Right.
And when they're doing all this digital auction and stuff, it really helped. But overall, fantastic event, and they always kind of keep you on your toes with where the food's located and where the auction is. So it's always a pleasure to attend that. I know at the last meeting I mentioned an update with the Noise Abatement Task Force about a slight rerouting of their northbound takeoff from St. Pete Clearwater Airport. They originally were slated to have that adjustment take place March 21st, but as of last week, they sent an email that due to some scheduling issues, so they say it in the email, is it's been pushed back till May 16th. But basically, one of the waypoints that is out over the water, that's how they kind of define their route of taking off and navigating out of the airspace, is going to be adjusted, but it's just going to be a few more months out before they make that to where we're going to get the planes off of essentially right on top of Shore Drive when they're departing from St. Pete Clearwater. So really looking forward to that. Unfortunately, we get a little bit of a delay. Next thing is Ford Pinellas. I know I mentioned a little bit when we had the presentation earlier, but we had the meeting last week. Some of the things that got discussed that are pretty significant and will have some level of impact here for us locally is there's been discussions and basically a memorandum of understanding for a regional merger, looking at merging between Pinellas, Hillsborough, and at least Pasco's metropolitan planning organizations to create a regional MPO that can really start to tackle the issues and address the geographic challenges of Tampa Bay and how to deal with transit here for our region. So that was a productive discussion, and they're continuing to hammer out those things, but we sort of touched on discussions related to, well, what size does that regional board look like, and then what happens with the existing county MPOs to continue to plan and basically probably serve as an advisory committee to the regional MPO. So it was really interesting to hear and participate in some of that discussion. One of the other things that came up was some future improvement work that is being planned for US 19 north of Curlew Road. You know, traditionally it's been, we've all witnessed it over the years as well. It's overpass after overpass, and it just keeps creeping north and south from kind of Countryside Mall area or State Road 60. But they are trying to look at alternatives that would have less of an impact or decreasing the value of the properties immediately adjacent to US 19. There's something called a viaduct concept, which is kind of what you would see over there at the Selman Expressway. So it's something elevated to get the through traffic all the way up into Pasco County without basically having a lot more open space under the traffic. So they're still kind of doing some feasibility studies, but over the next few months, they'll start to kind of put that out there. There's some conceptual stuff to start to get feedback from all the affected communities on that. One of the other things that came up is obviously we have the reapportionment that is taking place as they've increased their board size. So once everything gets adopted with the reapportionment, there will just be a shared seat between us and Safety Harbor. That will likely take place this summer. So we will still have a seat on the board as it currently stands for Ford Pinellas, but it will just be us and Safety Harbor rotating, but it'll be every 3 years. And I'm sure some Councilmember Buckman had shared some of this before, but it is likely that come 2025, Safety Harbor will take over for the next 3 years. But I did kind of ask because it's, you know, what was new to me at the time is how do we kind of stay plugged in as to what's going on when we're not in the seat? And especially where there's some other communities where there's 3 communities sharing a seat. So now it's like every 6 years you're out of the loop in theory. So part of what was discussed is to have the representative that is in that shared seat spend time probably visiting the other municipalities during their meetings to give them some updates of what's going on. So that could be something that'll be adopted or some sort of framework in terms of how we can stay tuned in and be reliant on somebody from Safety Harbor coming to visit us from time to time of what's going on in Fort Pinellas. And then the same thing would probably take place when it comes time to that regional MPO is, well, who's sharing it from Oldsmar and who's, you know, it's just this cascading effect. So a lot of things going on there. So I know it was a mouthful, but just to close out on some sweet and happy notes, I want to wish a happy early birthday to my sister Amelia. Her birthday is Monday, and Leona's is a day earlier. So sweet Leona turns 4 on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Yeah. It's going to be a Super Mario Party, but prominently featuring Princess Peach.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Of course, of course.
Four?
The royal party.
That makes me feel so.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for all the update. The
That's all I had.
MPO has been going on for a while. We've been talking about it at PSTA too.
It's moving slowly,
I
but
know,
it's getting
it's
there.
moving slowly.
It's starting to
Funny
gain some
you
steam.
mentioned the overpasses, because like, remember when it started at like Drew Street and Gulf to Bay, and every car dealership just slowly died or moved north to
North or
like
south.
Curlew
Right.
and Tampa Road and up that way? And now the overpasses have made their way back to the same car dealerships that relocated. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
they actually brought up a point where at one point on the table there was an overpass under consideration for Tarpon Avenue. And they took significant feedback from City of Tarpon to say, we don't want it, we want something else or nothing. And so now that's when they've started exploring these other
I mean,
concepts.
there's businesses at Nursery and Bel Air Road and 19 that they just never came back. Nothing ever came back.
Yeah, Sunset Point, still southeast corner of Sunset Point's a ghost town. So.
Gone. Nothing.
Same thing with your 3-year term. That's how the PSTA is. You know, we're splitting it between Safety Harbor and.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing to take to them
Same
and say,
thing.
hey, can we get some reporting back from
Right.
those
Yeah.
I'm
networks?
finally serving my term
Yeah.
for
Wow.
PSTA. Come
Right.
over, 'cause
Yeah.
Tarpon didn't
Right,
want it.
well, I'm saying in the future,
Safety Harbor didn't want it, so
that
yeah, so
rotation.
hopefully that happened to you.
Yeah.
it may not.
Never know.
We'll
All
know more
right,
this summer.
you all set?
I'm all set.
All right, thank you for the update. Next is Councilmember Sandy Grimes.
Thank you, Mayor. Basically, Councilmember Gannon and Nat covered everything from the Oldsmar Carriage Gala. It was wonderful, beautiful, great time with everyone and for an incredible cause in our community that we need to constantly support because they do such amazing work. And the Mardi Gras, it was freezing. It was
It was
fun.
nice to see Mr. Grimes there as well.
And he was a popsicle as well.
Yes,
We were- And of course, every heater in the place worked except the one near us.
Yeah, of course.
So it was
Yeah.
even colder,
Yeah.
but we had a great time. We
Yep.
made the best of it, so that's really all I have.
Yep, thank you. All right, Councilmember Graber.
Thank you. And also the Oldsmar Cares Gala, the amount of food, we were all sitting at the same table. We couldn't fit all of our plates. 'Cause there was, like, you'd go up and you'd get pasta, and you're like, well, give me some more of that. But then there was like this, like pasta station, but there was all this different stuff. I know, Katie, you weren't there. There was just charcuterie boards, and then Village Inn had brought their pies. And so, but you just see everybody, it was like my old waiting tables days. I had it like going like this, and I was like, can somebody just give me some water? But we couldn't fit everything.
Water.
Yeah, so like you'd eat your chips and guacamole and then like put that plate under, and then Kelly would be like, well, grab my plate, and then she would put it under mine as well, so. And I also got in trouble for not bidding on the trip to Cabo, so that was a fun ride home. Well, it was 7 days. Who's gonna watch the kids for 7 days? Sandy and Steve Grimes. I'm just saying, 7 days. That's a long time.
Cabo.
I am looking,
Been there, it's great.
yeah. I said we could bring the kids. She said no. Council work session next Tuesday, as Councilmember Gannon had mentioned. And then hopefully the weather starts warming up. I know the ice cream social, we ran out of ice cream last year, didn't they? Sent
Yeah.
you to the store, I
Want
think.
the Publix to get more ice cream?
Yeah, to get more ice cream, but that's 2 to 4 at the library this weekend. And then party in the park, getting that back up and going. So that's great. And that's on March 1st from 6 to 9. And I don't want to call it a mistake, but I made the fatherly, not error, but I said, do you guys want to get a new fish? So after we bought a new tank, which Mom had to approve, glow-in-the-dark seahorses that are actually unicorns, and then another unicorn, a smiling sea turtle, glow-in-the-dark gravel, and a treasure chest. Kelly actually went back to PetSmart to get a tree because she wanted it more vertical. We bought a fish, and it was Candy Peppermint Cherry Graber is now a part of the Oldsmar family, so just to let everybody know. Candy Peppermint Cherry Graber.
In that order, okay.
Yeah, son picked Candy, daughter picked middle name, and then they wanted a second middle name because Cherry was our last fish who passed away, so we wanted in memoriam to represent
okay.
Cherry in naming the fish. But that's all I had, Mayor. It was a fun
All
weekend.
right,
Thanks.
thank you, thank you.
Peppermint.
The only thing I have is this Sunday, we have the hockey tournament at the Lightning, the Oldsmar Lightning facility here in Oldsmar. Starts at 10 a.m. and it doesn't end till like 7. We got 8 teams. It's I think it's the first tournament, right, Chip? It's our first one we're gonna have. So we're kind of like hoping that we'll eventually bring more teams into Oldsmar, and we'll get that rink maybe starting to make some money someday.
Be
But-
safe. No,
Yeah, I
no
know.
injuries.
It's gonna be a long day. I'm kind of excited, though.
Good.
This is my last one, I don't know, but that's all I have. And you guys talked about everything else, so, all right. Item 25, approve the tentative agenda for the March 5th, 2024 council meeting. Does anybody wish to pull or add anything to the agenda?
There's one thing I noticed that's not on the agenda, is the resolution for the housing action plan that was discussed tonight. We may want to add that.
All right. Would someone like to add that?
I make a motion to approve the tentative agenda with the addition of the housing
Action plan.
action plan
and resolution.
that.
Perfect, I need a second.
Second.
I get a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Great meeting.
Housing action, that.
Housing